story short, if we take the city of
That's
Lucy,
what I'm
300,000, okay, I would argue that less than half of them are value added.
Are you investing? Are you influencing a person? More than one? Because I honestly don't care. I already said my statement.
That's the point.
Yeah, I don't want to take in your extra behavior, actions, decisions that I'm not going to partake in, because that's not the life path, the journey I have. That's not even an option, a possibility to bring in accuracy.
There's a debate about where the line is drawn, but there is not really a debate that there is, for the sake of simplicity, using the overgeneralized term useless either.
Too many general terms.
There's not an argument that there's people that suck out the resources within society.
That is your option.
It's not really an option. It's a literal.
There are glass cups or plastic ones. There you go. And I am still suffocating, but whatever. And I had just explained to you about brain chemical nervous systems and suffocation from my own experience, and you don't really care. But you got your point across.
Actually,
your statements
what I'm looking up right now
and your topics.
Is that surprising number?
Okay. There is a surprising number.
Well, based on my breathing in the air, I figured the air quality was worse than it is.
Wow. Yes, very surprising.
So, because it does feel like there's a fair bit of particulates, but apparently, according to the weather channels, it's not.
Right. The weather channel outside of this car.
Well, saying that my window has been down, and even though the fan has been off.
Steven, I'm pretty sure a 37-year-old fighting climate change conclusions.
Again,
with logs.
Changing words and changing
is
where it was going.
Too not specific accurate.
It wasn't even that it was specific or accurate. It was damn near lie. So,
I didn't understand that.
You didn't. So, your
besides
statement.
Bringing a completely random topic.
No, so based on your statement and based on what I was looking up the air quality index.
Like a color of.
Which, do grant,
some child book in all this economic talk. I don't think it was that off.
Incredibly so, but...
Ego. is enjoying the ego trip of telling someone what to do. Sometimes management experience gets to him. Because I ain't young enough, to be told that way.
The air quality index outside is at 25. Now, although up until recently the car's fan for its central air
Keep talking, you're rapping.
was off, it was on pass-through, meaning it was pulling air from the inside passively, or from the outside passively inside.
Keep going.
Furthermore, as established, the car is not airtight and my window was down. Which
there we go! That's the applause!
Gio, where was my because this is obnoxious.
And my car window is open. My car window doesn't recollect all this data. So I got an expensive celly. Bringing back 2012. Come on. That's when the Amazon started being cut down officially. Soybeans. Steven probably found all his love life with expensive phones, cellular devices.
I haven't changed my phone out in a while, but that's not the point.
There you go.
With the windows down, the air quality inside the vehicle would closely match the ambient air quality index, albeit probably 10 to 15% worse because of how old the car is and because, well, let's be blunt about that, exhaust systems and everything are not perfectly sealed.
Okay.
That was my statement on the air quality.
Alright. Okay.
Given the amount of time between vaping and the fact that it's a stimulant, and the coughing is most likely not a direct result of the vape smoke.
Alright. Yeah.
sleeping is considered a private action. And there's no situation where I'm going to consent to audio recording while I'm asleep.
Well, what?
While I'm asleep. So...
you don't sleep.
I sleep a small amount.
Steven only blinks. That doesn't count as sleep.
Now, for your recording, or however you want to do it, assuming it's still running, I'm going to lay down a couple ultimatums as consenting within my vehicle.
Steven is deciding,
No, you're welcome to get out. You're welcome to figure
that
out
he
your own
is
stuff.
telling it how it is.
I am going to be stating how
Telling
it
the
is.
whole world to get out.
So you have two options here.
I have two options after data collection.
You can consent to
To what?
agreed upon statement.
To
or,
what? To what?
I'll go
Because
into that in a
I
moment.
apparently am left out there with my stuff.
Last I checked, you don't own the vehicle.
What does that have to do with this phone?
What?
What does this have to do with this phone?
Well, it has to do with the fact that you're inside my vehicle.
Yeah, but this phone is collecting all air. Air quality. Boise State. Boise, Idaho. Y'all know about that engine quality. Good air.
Prime example. So, settle
The typical terms to the state.
Set ultimatum within my vehicle.
And I'm still coughing. Actually, I'm kind of only breathing. Seriously, can you not hear the fact that my stomach fucking hurts and... I am in my 20s, by the way, if that doesn't count for anything, since I am opposing to the age of 21 legal acceptability to drink alcohol. But my body is inflamed with nicotine.
Alright.
Secondhand smoke.
The ultimatum is as such.
Oh, so is as such with my device. And the active, willing participation
Alright, where do you want to get dropped off?
to state a comment that is recorded under a different device. My arm's not reached out to take anything of his cellular device, anything of this car, anything that is worn. Nothing here besides what I have here of mine.
Shortly,
And
at this
the
rate,
ego
will be removed
big
from my vehicle.
check. Yes. Yes, Stephen.
Because this
After
is
touching my knee.
done and over with, and you're
Yes.
inaccurate
After you got a
and
few hits
wholly
in.
inaccurate statements.
And talking and talking and talking and talking.
So,
Yes.
the statement and the ultimatum within my vehicle, which for video recording is occurring
From
because
Jenny.
apparently it's clear. is this. The passive-aggressive needs to stop. Will there
I
be
am
a
not
limit?
allowed to make a statement of scientific proof statement because Stephen Davenport has to have his scientific answer.
The passive-aggressiveness needs to stop.
And apparently I have to answer in a astoundment response.
If you are
Because that
continue
is the
being
mood,
the
the
vehicle.
tone of bringing up big term concept ideas of numbers and
If you're going to continue being behind
resources.
the passive aggressiveness needs to stop. Plain and simple.
Tell me how. Talk it. How are the responses supposed to sound like? I cannot respond or mimic if there is no example.
Okay. Stephen. It's passive aggressive.
I don't make those.
But to be clear, you're whispering something, but you're doing it in such a way that it's at the edge of hearing.
Because you don't hear me unless you want to focus on hearing something. So how is that not rude? How is that not an example of passive aggressiveness?
Being asked to repeat it.
So I ask you, how are you supposed to answer? I'm asking you to provide example. You saying you understand accuracy.
Okay. Would you like me to continue with the example because I'm using a prime example of where the problem's arriving? Or would you like to continue interrupting it?
Look. There's a red car. Now provide the example. You're happy about it. Is that what you're getting at?
It's a nice car.
So you don't want me. So you want me to answer like a robot? Wow, Stephen, that is a response to your science. Instead of me being realistic about things and answering to the questions that you are asking and providing real answers.
Passive-aggressive behavior is the pattern of indirectly expressing negative emotions, particularly anger or resentment, rather than addressing them directly. It involves expressing hostility through actions.
The responses to science concept terms
leading to the confusion and frustration
are big concept terms that are confusing and hostile in its nature. You know why? Because science classes exist, and I took a few for this to be the response. Unless you really had a super happy science class to these topics. And that must have been very lucky you.
What?
That makes a lot of sense.
So, is the recording stopping? Are we going to sleep, or am I dropping you off somewhere?
But you are not asleep.
No situation.
There is driving that is happening. And would it not be a better use of your car to just find some DoorDash or something, because we are about 50 minutes away from the beginning of the desert area. So I'm not quite sure how that is an accurate statement to a concept you want to manifest in area, parameter, density, and volume.
Okay. The reason why I'm asking it, the reason why I am stating it on the recording, is so that it is there. Am I going out to where we have normally parked, where there's privacy and not a bunch of moving cars? No. It is way too
So then,
early in the morning.
what
I'm
is
gonna find a parking lot.
what is the point when there is no reason?
Because I'm not going to consent to
sleep.
recording while I get my hour of sleep or whatever I'm going to need to actually function.
Okay.
So,
what gas station are you going to?
I don't even know if I'm going to the gas station. To be
Okay.
perfectly blunt with you.
So
where
are you gonna sleep?
And pass out.
Okay.
Doesn't take much for me to do that.
Do what?
To find a spot where I could pass out.
Oh. Okay. I'm happy you are expressing how your knowledge helps you find calm, peaceful solutions, as you explained about half an hour ago.
So,
By sounding double the happy as it should be, because America, in your terms of explanation.
Well, as I'm not going to be consenting to it.
Consenting to
having
what?
audio recording while I sleep. I have to know the answer.
You are not. You are not exciting sleeping, as you have also woken up to me sleeping, and
so
then you being awake, and then me being like, okay, I guess we're awake.
So,
And then me being the one who doesn't have the schedule accustomed to 60, 80 hours a week. So then I'm more of a drowsy. And then you being the, okay, well, let's pick it up, and however you seem to look or feel, let's go. And then later on, taking the melatonin or things like that, and then me being like, that would be a bad idea, and so I don't take the melatonin, and then you get really drowsy.
which has already been addressed prior, and with the prior recordings has been hashed out.
So why bring up topics again?
Not there. I am stating again because there has been no answer.
Your wheel?
I am tapping on my wheel, and I am starting to get frustrated because you don't want to answer the question on a recording, which is showing some shady shit.
What?
So,
What is showing? What is showing?
that you don't want to answer and have a binding statement on it, which shows that you want to do
That
something
you
shady.
want responses only accurate to what you want, just like we have discussed with your questions that are overly general, and then only down to your specifics, where no one would be able to
This is a
head
finalization
towards.
question.
Yes.
Gino. It's very simple. Okay?
Just like every statement,
It's a
unless it's like, oh my gosh,
it's
blue
an
dream,
option A or option
as
B
you
question.
are bringing up
Okay?
those comments. which, by the way, is your comments, because I do not take drugs. This is why the nicotine thing is a big deal. Right now, I have a good 40% of your secondhand smoke nicotine, and my stomach really hurts. I am younger than you, and
impossible.
no, it's not, with the amount of smoke you smoke.
It is mathematically
and
impossible.
how many hours I've spent in this car.
It is mathematically impossible.
And you bringing down every level of stats down to only your specific numbers. So there you go.
Back to my statement.
Oh, so now statements only made by Stephen Davenport. And if he feels...
Are you done?
If he feels confident enough to talk about things that are only to his level of happiness.
Gio, you were very close to me making the decision for you, because that's not a great spot.
Steven,
so
is that a threat?
It's not a threat, it's a promise.
So it is a threat.
It is not a threat.
So it is a threat.
Answer. Okay. I am not going to consent to have audio recording going while I'm sleeping. So, am I dropping you off somewhere?
Steven,
if so, where?
Steven, I want to know why you think you would be entertaining while you're sleeping. Sorry, my nose is also getting clogged up from all that extra nose inflation.
Or is it ending?
Hopefully not infection.
I also want to point out that the Digital Security Act also allows me to
What about digital security?
This cannot be posted online.
What posting of what? For what? Because Steven also recorded his own recording, so...
I did, after making the statement of it being recorded.
And he only stated whatever he thinks mind-melting, because he calls it that whenever it's called some form of grooming. Yes.